All right, for these last problems, you are absolutely positively going to need a calculator. So if you don't have a calculator, you need to get one out right now. So press pause and make sure you have a calculator right there in front of you. So, looking at this triangle, what we're going to do is we're going to use that tangent ratio in order to find x. So we're going to start the same way. I'm going to look at this 37-degree angle. And I'm going to label, like, what side is the x? Is the x the opposite leg, the adjacent leg, or the hypotenuse? Hopefully you realize it's the opposite leg. How about the 12? Is that the opposite leg, the adjacent leg, or the hypotenuse? Hopefully you realize it's the adjacent leg. So, what my setup's going to look like is the tangent of 37 degrees is going to equal the opposite leg of x over the adjacent leg of 12. So I'm going to put this over 1, and I'm going to look at this as a proportion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cross-multiplying. So remember what cross-multiplying means. I'm going to be multiplying 1 times x and 37 times 12. Okay? So when I do that, I end up with 12 times tangent of 37 equals 1 times x, which is just x. Okay, here's where you're going to use your calculator. Get out your calculator and find the tangent button. Okay, find the tangent button. It should be 2 above the 9. It says TAN. Now, if you have a graphing calculator, I'm going to give you some special instructions. So in your graphing calculator menu, I want you to find the mode button. Press that. 3 or 4 lines down, you have a choice between what's called radians and degrees. You want to make sure that degrees are highlighted. If you don't have a graphing calculator, you don't need to worry about this. But if you have a graphing calculator, make sure 3 or 4 lines down, degrees are highlighted. So if you have a little calculator, you should see a sign, the letters D, E, G for degrees in the lower left-hand corner. If you happen to see R, A, D, that means radians, so you have to change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in 12 times, and then I'm going to press that tangent button. And the words TAN should show up with a parenthesis. And I'm going to put in 37. So my calculator screen reads 12 times tangent of 37. I press enter and I get 9.04. And guess what? That tells us how big x is. I'm always going to look back and see, does that seem to make sense? Does it seem to make sense that x is about 9.04? Yeah, that seems like a reasonable length for that triangle. So let's set up the next one. For the next one, I'm given this 49-degree angle up here. I know the 14 is the opposite, and the y is the adjacent. So this one's going to be a little bit different, so do pay attention. So my trig setup is going to be the tangent, TAN for tangent, of the angle, which is 49 degrees. Well, that's going to equal the opposite of 14 over the adjacent of y, because tangent always equals the opposite leg over the adjacent leg. So this one's a little weird, because when I cross multiply, I end up with y times the tangent of 49 equals 1 times 14, which is just 14. So now to find y, what I have to do is I have to divide both sides of the equation by tangent of 49. So I'm going to go back to my calculator, and I'm going to enter in 14 divided by the tangent of 49. And when you do that, hopefully you got about 12.17. If you didn't, we'll have a calculator. Maybe Miss Johnson can help you out, or you can ask a friend, but you should have gotten about that. Okay, let's try one more together, and then I'm going to recommend that you try the bottom row on your own. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my known angle, and I'm going to label the 29 as the opposite leg. I'm going to label that O, and the Z is the adjacent leg. I'm going to label it Z, or A, excuse me. And then I'm going to do my trig setup. And what that is I'm going to use the tangent ratio. So I write tangent of the angle. That's going to equal the opposite leg over the adjacent leg. So in this case, 29 over Z. So I'm going to cross multiply. And I get that same thing as I did in the last problem, Z times the tangent of 55 equals 1 times 29. Okay, if you didn't see that, let's make sure that you understand what's going on. I'm doing the tangent of 55 times Z, or Z times the tangent of 55, equals 1 times 29. So I'm going to have to divide both sides by the tangent of 55. Well, I'm going to go to my calculator now, and I want you to enter in 29 divided by, hit the tangent button, 55. So 29 divided by the tangent of 55. Okay, I would really strongly recommend at this point you press pause and then you do the last 3 problems, and I'll show you. All right, let's see how you did on the first 2. Hopefully, you recognize that your trig setup for the first one would be the tangent of 24 equals A over 12. So when you cross multiply, you get 1 times A equals 12 times the tangent of 24. So A equals 12 times the tangent of 24, and we get about A is about 5.34. For your next one, hopefully you did the trig setup as the tangent of 69 equals B over 21. So once again, we cross multiply, and we get B times 1, or B, equals 21 times the tangent of 69. When you use your calculator, you get 54.71. Okay, next one was a bit of a challenge. So find the missing angle in the triangle to the left. So how do we do that? Like if we have angles of 69 and then a right angle, how do we find that missing angle? Well, hopefully you kind of did in your head 180 minus the 90 minus the 69, and you ended up with 21 degrees. So this angle right here is a 21-degree angle. I'm going to redraw this triangle showing that angle. And so I know that this side is 21 and this side was B. Well, with reference to this 21 degrees, the side that's 21 is the opposite, and the adjacent is B. So I can do a different trig setup. I can say that the tangent of 21 degrees equals 21 over B. And I'm going to cross multiply, and I get B times the tangent of 21 equals 1 times 21. So I'm going to divide both sides by the tangent of 21. So I do 20 on my calculator, 21 divided by the tangent of 21, and I end up with 54.71 again. which is exactly what I got in the last answer. So of course they're the same. It's just two different ways to do the same problem. So what I'd like you to do is you have homework in your pink packet. It is going to be on page 12. So what I'm going to be looking for when I come back on Wednesday is your homework on page 12. So I will see you then, and have a great couple days.